Hey everybody, welcome to the Song Revolution podcast, brought to you by Nashville Christian Songwriters. Nashville Christian Songwriters exists to empower Christian songwriters worldwide. I'm John Chisum, and this podcast exists to bring you valuable songwriting insights, inspiration, interviews, and just all around good fun with some of the greatest songwriters, producers, arrangers, artists, and creatives, and beyond. You can find out a whole lot more about us at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. Hey everybody, it's John Chisum for the Song Revolution podcast, and I'm so thankful that you guys are taking just a few minutes out of your day to spend with me and think about all things song. You know, here at Nashville Christian Songwriters, we are all song, all Jesus, all the time. And so we hope that you're finding just tremendous value with these podcasts. I mean, we're over 40,000 downloads, and we are, well, you know what? We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary on Easter. Man, I should have made a bigger deal about that. Yesterday on April 1 was our 1-year anniversary. And we've had just some amazing people on in the last year. Like I just said, over 40,000 downloads. We're on one radio station already, and we hope that that continues to grow, because our goal at Nashville Christian Songwriters is to empower Christian songwriters worldwide. That's what we're all about. That's what we want to do, is bring you amazing resources at whatever level you're at. Whether you're a beginning, intermediate, or an advanced songwriter, we want to help you to grow in your craft, because we believe that you were born to be heard. And that's more than just a slogan. That's more than something we say just to keep you hooked in and listening to our stuff. You know, we believe in our stuff. We're putting out great stuff. But what we really believe, that you're watching, you're listening, you're plugged into what we're doing here at NCS, because you have this desire in you to communicate the gospel truth, that you really desire to share something that God has done on the inside of your heart. And songs, that's your medium, that's your art, that's your pointillism, that's your acrylics, that's your whatever, that's your just your dance. That's your dance, right? I mean, you know, that's your jam, is to write great songs for God. And we want to help you do that. And so we offer a wide range of opportunities to interact with us. And this podcast is just one of my favorite ways. I love this. I love to get to meet people. I mean, we've had, there's no way that I can remember all 50 episodes that we've done so far. It might be 54, 5, 6. I'm not sure. But we've had amazing people. We've had John Mays, who's the head A&R guy at Centricity. And the name of his podcast, actually, we just split it up and reissued it a few weeks ago, but it's How to Make It in the Christian Music Business. We've had over 7,000 downloads just of that one. So if you haven't heard that one, it's just fantastic. He's one of my dearest friends. We've had Jason Gray. We've had Jenny Owens. We've had, oh my goodness, and just have had so many amazing people on the podcast. And so go take advantage of that. Listen to that. It's a free resource library just sitting there waiting for you to take advantage of all the inspiration, all the information, and all the great interviews. So we're going to add to that. This is going to be the first of 5 shorter podcasts. We're going to go ahead and give you a break. I don't know. I'm verbose, and I love having great guests on who really enjoy talking. And so we can go 45 minutes or an hour sometimes. And I know that, you know, for many of you, you're listening on your lunch break, you're listening on drive time, and sometimes an hour is a little bit long. And so these are going to be pretty short, but I'm going to do 5 quick podcast here over the next few weeks, interspersing them into everything that we're doing. And I'm going to be drawing from an article that I wrote for GTR magazine. Now that's Gear Tech and Recording magazine. And this magazine came out back in September of 2017. And on the cover is Metallica's Kirk Hammett. And then we've got Alan Parsons in here. We've got a bunch of the general marketplace folks like Megan Trainor and so many people who are just legends. And here I am smack dab in the middle. And I know the people that do this magazine, so they asked me to write for them. They're the same people that do Worship Musician magazine, Bruce Adolph, and our great friends up in the Northwest. So a big shout out to Bruce. Thanks for allowing me to be part of that. I also write for Worship Musician magazine. So I want to put a big plug in for them. They're great people. So go check out everything at worshipmusician.com. nbsp.com as well. But I wrote this article called 5 Tips for Writing Great Hooks. And so I want to just share those with you. And the premise that I always work from when I'm working with our clients at NCS is that great songs begin not with great hooks, but with great ideas. If you don't have a great idea, and sometimes a great hook births a great idea. Sometimes this birth happens just simultaneously, where a hook comes to you and it happens to be a great idea, but you can also develop a great hook from a great idea. And I call this in my training writing from the essence of an idea, because sometimes you have a passion on the inside of you. Sometimes you have something that you really want to say, but maybe you haven't developed a great hook yet. We're going to take just a quick break and talk about something that I think is going to be very valuable for you as a Christian songwriter. So check it out.
Do you feel like God's given you a bunch of songs, but you don't know what to do with them? Do you feel like you've got a real call on your life to write, but you're clueless about where to start? Or maybe you've got writer's block and you're wondering if you'll ever get the creative juices flowing again. Well, we've got you covered with NCS membership. NCS membership is all about community and how to grow in this calling you feel deep inside to be heard. We get it. We know that you just want to honor God with your talents and be a good steward of what He's given you. And that's why NCS membership could be your next right step to grow, learn, be challenged, get connected, and ultimately fulfill your dreams to glorify God and reach others with the same passion you feel. It's designed to help you tell your story and to reach listeners who will love your songs. With your NCS membership, you'll receive 2 free song critiques, 24/7 access to valuable masterclasses on topics such as modern hymn writing, worship writing, song form, lyric development, and recording home demos, as well as discounts for other NCS products, and a deep connection into a community of creatives who get you. There are a lot of songwriters out there, so you need to be the best you can be to stand out, be heard, and become the songwriter you were born to be. Just go to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com now to check out all the great benefits of becoming part of a decidedly Christian community of songwriters from all over the world. NCS membership, your next right step to being heard.
Well, I just hope that you'll take advantage of that and check it out. All right? We bring you good stuff here on the Song Revolution podcast. So back to our episode. First of all, unless you just are blessed with a fantastic hook and it just falls out. And that happened to me the other day when I was writing with my buddy Phil Marins. He came to a co-writing session and he had this idea about how God sees the miracles that He's doing, the difference between how He sees them and how we see them. And he didn't really have a hook, but he had a great idea. And he had some lines. He had a couple of pages of ideas that he had written. And he wound up just sharing that with me. And the longer we wrote, and I just said, hey, talk to me about this idea. And he said, well, it's like, things that seem so big to us are just another miracle to God. And it was like, I said, Phil, there's the hook for that song, Just Another Miracle. And so we wrote that song. His publisher is loving it. And so we're hoping to see that show up somewhere. And so you guys, you can't steal that hook. That's already written. It's already copyrighted worldwide. You can't steal that. But that's a really good example how you can start with an idea. You can start with the essence of a song and then develop a great hook out of it. And sometimes here's a real tip for you guys. Sometimes you sit down and you try to write and you're just empty-headed. You haven't spent any time or just pre-writing your idea. You haven't read anything about it. You haven't been doing any word clusters. You haven't been doing anything to prepare yourself to write. And so when you sit down to write, you're empty and you haven't resourced yourself to the point where you have anything to say. Well, let me tell you, if you're going to write beautiful words, you've got to be filled with beautiful words. If you're going to write great melodies, you have to understand how great melodies work, and you've got to be saturated, immersing yourself in the craft of all these things if you expect to write great songs, and that's just how it goes. But that's a really good example of how you can start with an idea and then work from the idea into a great hook. And so here's another tip: sit down with your journal, and if there's something on your heart, just write and write and write and write. Don't even think about it. Just write your prayers. Just don't sit down and try to write a song. Sit down and try to write about this idea. Go find some books. Go Google, whatever this idea is, and just spend time saturating yourself in it and look for those phrases that can possibly become the great hook. Now, mature writers can take an idea and write many hooks, not just one, but many hooks out of one idea. So I want to encourage you with that. So the first thing that I want to bring to you in this podcast is something that I deal with all the time, and that is and this is an equation. This is something that you can just write down. I invite you to find a pencil or a pen or jot this into your phone right now, that a great idea coupled with a great hook, coupled with a great lyric, and a great melody becomes a great song. If you don't start with a great idea, there's no possible way that you're going to wind up with a great song. It's just an impossibility. Now, you can start with an idea and wind up writing a completely different kind of song than you started with, and maybe up the quotient, up the quality, if you will. But, when you just sit down and grab your guitar or sit down to the keys and think that you're just going to emote and somehow come out with a great song, it just rarely happens that way unless you've been steeping yourself in great things. So once you've decided that you've got a great idea worth spending your time and energy on, developing a great hook is the next most important thing that you can do. I do know that some ideas do show up fully developed, like Phil. He showed up with an idea and we wound up developing that hook out of it. And sometimes a hook just falls into your brain, or somebody says something, or you hear something in a sermon, or one of our writers saw a commercial on television and it inspired him to write a song it really wasn't just like that commercial at all. It did borrow just a piece of it, but that's okay. You can borrow pieces here and there and create something brand new out of it. So if you're blessed enough that a fully developed hook just falls in your brain, or somebody says something and it just screams, write me, well, that's okay. Some of my best song ideas have happened in the midst of conversations when somebody said something amazing, or I'm talking and something fell out of my mouth, and it's like, okay, you better write that down right now. That's the way things happen. Or you hear a phrase, or you read a phrase. Great writers, great songwriters are great readers. So if you're not a reader, if you don't have that discipline or that love in your life, I just want to encourage you to begin to develop it. If you want to become a great songwriter, you're going to have to be a great reader and read things. Read the Bible, read devotional things, read anything. Anytime anybody's putting together words, read it. Just read, and build up your skills. And then from there, I'm going to stop there for today, because there's so much more that I want to get to, but I don't want to spend too long on this. I feel like I've kind of whetted your appetite, hopefully, with the whole equation that you start with a great idea and that moves into, hopefully, a great hook. Then you develop a great lyric, a great melody, and that's how you write a great song. In the upcoming podcast, we're going to be talking about memorability, emotion, universality, imagery, and finally, simplicity. And so I believe that if you'll employ those 5 things, and if you'll start with a great idea, then you are going to wind up much closer to writing a great song. Hey, thanks for listening to the Song Revolution podcast. We've got many great artists lined up for you that are going to be on. We're going to have some great industry people on. Man, this is just fun. This is a fun job. And so we're here to resource you. Again, NCS, Nashville Christian Songwriters, exists to empower you, Christian songwriters worldwide. If this has blessed you, I want to invite you to share it out with your friends. I want to invite you to share the love, spread the love, help people understand that we're here to serve, to empower, and to watch the kingdom of God be spread and Jesus made even more famous through your songs. You were born to be heard, and we're here to help. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening in today on the Song Revolution podcast. If you're wanting to take your songwriting to the next level, be sure to jump over to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com right now to check out all the valuable resources that we have there for you, especially NCS membership, where you can go deeper into a community of like-minded songwriters and tap into encouraging blogs, videos, powerful masterclasses, and a whole lot more to get you where you really want to go. I'll see you next time.